You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I'm Pete Fox. Nice to be back after the break, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bets. Well, the Clippers had spurts tonight where things looked well. They also had spurts where it didn't look well. And that's what's troubling and bothersome to me. The Clippers are just very, very inconsistent. And I try to be positive, but there are times when I come away from a game like this and I go, I don't know how I can be positive. You can't play 2.5 quarters. You have to play a full game or close to it. You can't have garbage quarters where they just fall apart, especially when it is the fourth quarter. Yes, we'll dig around and we'll find some positive stuff tonight. My first look at Ben Simmons in a Clippers uniform. Thought that looked okay. Kris Dunn played a hell of a game. Stat line was fantastic. Even hit a big three. Kawhi Leonard, a nice performance. James Harden was okay. The turnovers as a whole, not bad. So there's definitely some positive stuff there. But they come away with a 116-110 loss to the Bucks, who are not going in the right direction. They've lost, coming into this game, they had won 4 of 11. So now 5 of 12. But, they did the small things better. And here's my biggest gripe of this game and my biggest worry for the Clippers. They do not show up consistently during clutch time. They have to find more pressure. They are always, to me, and maybe I'm exaggerating by saying always, and I'm saying this about big games. Of course, when you play the Utahs of the world, the Charlottes, yeah, it's different. I'm talking about good teams. They are always, to me, or at least a high majority of the time, just trying to survive. And that's a problem. They got to find a rhythm, an energy, a big right hand. They got to knock some fools in the mouth. They don't do that. Stumbling to the finish line in big games. I know the last time they played the Bucks, Harden went off for 40 and they won that game comfortably. But that was pre-All-Star break, pre-trade. Different. They're a different team now. Completely different team. Let's look back over their last few wins and see if there's something we can go, yeah, that was good. I'm trying to find the schedule in the right order. I hate it when they do it upside down and backwards. They beat Minnesota on Wednesday? What? Where did I miss a game? February 12th. Am I looking? What is going on here? I'm very confused. 24-25. So they lost tonight. It's you. What in the hell am I looking at here? I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, I clicked on the Bucks schedule. I was like, what? They didn't beat Minnesota? Sorry. Derailed there for a second. Just getting my legs under me after the All-Star break as well. All right, here we go. I was like, what in the hell is going on here? All right. So yeah, they had a nice run coming into the All-Star break. 3 in a row. They beat Utah. They beat Memphis. Now that was a pretty decent win and they played well. It was at home. And let's be honest, the Clippers are a much better team at Intuit than they are on the road. So that was a win. So that's where I like to put a little caveat in my exclamations of always. It's not always. It's frequently, though. That was a nice win over Memphis. And then, they went to overtime to beat Utah on that game right before the break. They lost to Indiana. Again, an ugly fourth quarter. At spurts when they looked good, got back into the game, but then fell apart when it mattered. Lost to the Lakers, lost in Toronto, beat a weak Charlotte team, and a nice win over San Antonio on the road. Now, San Antonio is good, but not great. Under 500. They just seem to play the Clippers well. So I look at this team and I say, I like Bogdanovich. I like Ben Simmons. I like what they've done, but it doesn't just build a ton of confidence. Like, yeah, you've added some nice pieces and it's time to make a run. You've added some nice pieces. Now you've got to put the recipe together. And that's where I feel like I'm not sure they can do that. I don't think they have enough time. I feel like what we've got here is a bunch of nice players, but do we have a good team? I don't think so. They're okay. Unfortunately, I hate to be this guy and I hate to pull this card, but I feel like it's the Clippers. That's what they do. It's the Clippers. Yeah. You got some nice players, some nice pieces. LeBron. Thanks, BC, for distracting me with your comment there. He puts this in all the time. LeBron plus Luka equals championship. Pipe dream, BC. They're definitely better, but they're not a championship contender. But I love your enthusiasm. What was I trying to say? Kawhi Leonard is still good, but he's not what he was in Toronto or San Antonio. His defense is increased. Again, nice night tonight. He plays well, but is he the kind of guy you build around? No, he's old. The Clippers are old. I looked at them closer over the break. Had an off-the-air conversation with my friend Mark, who was on the show for that Memphis game. And, we kind of talked about it. And Mark's a complete negative Nancy naysayer kind of a guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of positive things to say about anything. But, he brought up some good points. It's like the Clippers are in need of a superstar, and that's with Kawhi Leonard. This James Harden's old. He's just not going to be able to get it done for too much longer. Norm Powell is very good, but he's not a superstar. He's not a guy you build around and go, yes, we got Norm Powell, we're good, right? No, they've got a whole bunch of B+ kind of guys. I put Kawhi Leonard in that category. He might be an A- kind of a guy. 9 of 22 tonight, 4 of 8, 3 of 3, 25 points. But is Kawhi Leonard the kind of guy right now that you feel confident you can get on his back in a big game? No, he's not. That tonight, they could have used that. Hey, get on my back. I got you. No, none of that. They all kind of chip in, but it's kind of like a meal where you're like, I'm hungry. I'll eat anything. And here's something that's average, right? And you're like, well, I was starving, so it was okay. I'm not hungry anymore. But I don't know that I'd go back to that restaurant, like on a date or for an anniversary or anything. That's what the Clippers are right now. They fill your belly. And sometimes you're like, that was fun. But more often than not, I come away feeling frustrated, even in a good game. Because and the reason for that is, I'll tell you after the break. I'll tell you my main reason for being frustrated with the Clippers right now. After the break. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. As I said, tonight's episode of the Clipper postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. With the game, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. And for those of you who don't know who live bets are, you're missing out, really, because live bets are really, really fun. It's where you feel the flow of the game and your intuition takes over at that point. You got to have, some backbone to make live bets, and you got to stick with your gut because you're betting on what you're seeing right in front of you. So you bet on the game during the game. So even if you miss the start of the game, you can bet on a fourth quarter comeback like Milwaukee Bucks fans could have done tonight. You stay in the action throughout the game. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets, even if you have to win your first bet. So you got to make a $5 bet. And if you hit that first $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets. You can check it out at FanDuel.com and join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Clippers fall tonight in Milwaukee to the Bucks at Pfizer, 116-110. Here is what frustrates me probably the most about the Clippers. They show you and tease you with what they're capable of, but they don't keep it up. And maybe I have too high expectations, right? There were times this season for the Dodgers, as I do the Dodgers postcast as well, for those of you who are new here to the Clippers postcast, there were times in June and July where I was, frustrated. I didn't come away from every game going, it's fine, it's okay, it's good. We're good. No. Like, I look at it and go, this was not good. Parts of it were. And again, I probably have too high expectations for every team that I cover because they show you glimpses of being good. I'm lucky. The 4 teams I cover are pretty good. That being Dodgers, Clippers, Trojans, and Chargers. None of them are a disaster. They're all pretty good. At times, you're like, okay, cool. Give me more of that. That's what the problem is with the Clippers right now. Give me more of that. Third quarter, 39-23. Come out, running and gunning, looking good, right? 30-10 run at the 5-minute mark of the third. 26-point turnaround, the start of the fourth, and it all goes to hell in a handbasket. That's why I'm so frustrated. Here is tonight's bucket list. The 6, maybe 7 or so buckets that were big and meaningful. Well, number 5, James Harden hit a 3 at the 3:21 mark of the first. It was a straightaway pull-up jumper that gave the Clippers a 26-22 lead. It was his first 3 of the night. Number 4, Ben Simmons, an alley-oop to Derek Jones Jr., which was sweet. And of course, we know what Derek Jones is capable of above the rim. It came at the 11:40 mark of the second, 31-28 Clippers. For number 3, Coffee had a dunk that was athletic and aggressive. It's nice to see at the 8:20 mark of the third. It made it 65 all. For number 2, Kawhi hit a 3 at the 7:11 mark of the third. It came on a second chance after a very athletic rebound from Kris Dunn. It made it 68-67. So the Clippers regained the lead there. I feel the need right now to share with you Kris Dunn's line on the night because it was fantastic for him. Just 5 points. 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, but he had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals, which was a career high for him. So yeah, he definitely is a utility guy that can do a little bit of everything and really helps the team out a lot. You need a guy like that on your team. He is a cog in the system and helps out across the board, plays well. He was a big part of that comeback in the third. For number 1, let's call it 1A, Bogdan Bogdanovic, a catch and shoot at the 1:11 mark of the third, 86-76. Then he had another catch and shoot in the corner with his toes on the line in the final minute that went down, and it made it 3-point game or 2-point game at that point for the Clippers. But they couldn't finish it off and pull off the comeback. And for number 1B, Kris Dunn hit a 3 to tie the game at the 4:50 mark of the fourth at 104. So he played well. They called him the player of the game, and it's hard to argue with that because he did so much across the board for them. But I just look and I say, this team could have won this game. Yeah, they could win them all, I guess. But there were plenty of opportunities here where the Clippers just let it slide. Fouling a very ice-cold Damian Lillard twice in the fourth quarter from beyond the arc. Foolish, lazy, just not playing the game the way you should. Sloppy on defense. 6 minutes to go in the game. They were just unraveling. Turnovers, defensive breakdowns, the bad fouls. It's like, that's when you need to focus, late in the game, when it's tight, when it matters. They made a bunch of nice plays. They really did. Again, the third quarter, you watch that and you're like, yes, the Clippers are capable of it. That Kawhi Leonard defensive play where he poked the ball away to Harden and then Harden fed it right back to him, and a nice, easy layup. That's the kind of stuff they need to do more of. But offensively in the fourth quarter, the ball was just getting stuck. Kawhi Leonard or James Harden dribble the ball over the half-court line, stand there at the top of the key on the wing, and just hold the ball, head faking, trying to figure out a way to either get fouled or make a jump shot. And it's like, that's not the way you win the game. You got to move the ball. You got to make things happen. You got to find a guy in rhythm, let him shoot. You can't just stand there and get stuck like that. It's infuriating to me. It's the worst kind of basketball. Let's just get stuck right here and let James Harden or Kawhi Leonard try to figure out a way to get fouled. And guess who wasn't doing that? The Bucks, moving the ball around, finding what's his name open in the corner. What was that guy's name? Played well against the Clippers last time as well. The long hair. What's his name? Is he a starter? Yeah, Taurean Prince. 14 points tonight. Some big threes late. I thought he and somebody else, I don't know who exactly it was, but the Bucks got a couple of raw calls. I totally agreed that they were not fouls. They went in favor of the Clippers. So, those kind of things, and still you lose, right? You're getting calls going your way. You just can't maximize it, right? They are inconsistent at best. And I don't know how you fix that at this point of the season. You gotta, I guess you gotta keep grinding. And that's one good thing you can say about this Clippers team. They will continue to grind. They're fairly tough. Kawhi Leonard, to me, question mark as to his toughness, as to whether or not he wants to grind all the way to the very end. You look at Kawhi and you say, are you in it to win it, or are you just in it to get paid? I still don't know. He plays hard, sure. But I think he can play way harder. I feel like his defense is not as great as it can be. Tonight, I look at Zubac's game and I say, all right, first quarter, let's just forget about that. It was nothing, really. Not much going on there. In the second quarter, he was having a tough time, both on offense and defense, right? He couldn't stop Giannis. And don't get me wrong, I get that Giannis is an MVP and one of the best in the game, and it's hard to stop him. He had that spin move working tonight. Giannis had a fantastic game. But you look forward into the third, Zubac was playing defense. He's capable of it. He's not a tough guy. He's not going to body guys up all the time, but he's capable of it. And maybe you have to pick your spots. I don't know. But in the second quarter, couldn't stop anybody in the paint. The paint was wide open, getting easy looks, not just Giannis, all of them. And then he had a tough time scoring on Brook Lopez. But got it going in the third, had some big putback baskets, played some defense, and you come away thinking, that's a nice game from Zubac. That's what he does. Double, 20 points, 15 boards. So you can't complain about it too much. I need more of it. Give me more. You're not old. You're the one guy who's not old, right? You're not going are they going to build around him for the future? I don't know why I'm so worried about the future. I'm really supposed to just look at this game, and that's what I'm doing. But you go forward and you try to think about what is down the road for this team. You know, you look right now and you say, if the Clippers finished right around where they are, 6 or 7 is play-in tournament, I think. So you got to finish at 6. They go to the play-in tournament. That's bad. They make it in at 6 and win the first round, which right now would be, do they go 6-1? I can't remember how it goes with all this damn play-in tournament stuff. No, they don't. They wouldn't be 6-1. The play-in tournament nets you 2 more teams. So you would be, what do you go? So it'd be 1-8, 2-7, 3-6. So they'd face the Nuggets. If the season ended today, if they were to beat the Nuggets and then get smoked in the second round, I think everybody that is a Clipper fan would be like, hey, that was a good season. It's a good season. Something to build on. There's no way they're getting past the second round right now. There's no way. I'm sorry. Sorry to be a negative naysayer. This team, the way it stands right now, not getting past second round. They're probably going to be in the play-in tournament. Let's be honest. And then they would face the Grizz potentially in the second round or the first round. They could beat the Grizz. But then after that, no, they're not going to beat the Thunder. Rockets have fallen off a little bit. Wow, that's kind of surprising. They've dropped 7 of 10. Holy cow. Let's take the last break. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast also brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. The swoosh you save. Thanks to DoorDash, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more, and that happens all the time, right? You check out DoorDash, and if you're a member, you get 50% off an order. One of the things I love about DoorDash, and ultimately, I pick and choose kind of around on all of these different services. But the great thing about DoorDash, they offer a ton of deals, right? And a lot of times when you think it's going to be crazy expensive to get food delivered to your house, check out DoorDash. It's not. It's a deal. My stepdaughter's boyfriend is a huge fan of DoorDash, always using DoorDash. Sometimes it's just for one meal for their baby. It's like, here's a meal for the 1-year-old. And I go, well, that cost you? He's like, no, it was cool. It was totally fair. I had to pay a nominal fee, and sometimes he has to pay no fee. But DoorDash is definitely offering the deals on a regular basis. So make sure you check out DoorDash. Sign up for DoorDash and be ready to save when any player scores 50 or more in a game. Dash Pass members get 50% off and order the next day up to $10 off. Just use the promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash.com to learn more. All right, Clippers fall in Milwaukee. First game out of the break, 116-110. The final. I thought Ben Simmons had a nice game. Nothing special, nothing great, but I liked what I saw from him. I thought his defensive presence was nice to see, and I think that's something the Clippers can use and build on. I know he's a point guard, but he doesn't play like a point guard. He doesn't have the ball in his hands all that much. I'm a little baffled by the fact that they still call him a point guard, but he's capable of it. I mean, he did it a few times at the end of the game where he had the ball at the point, and one of the things I liked about it, unlike Harden and unlike Kawhi, he was moving the ball around, passing. And that's nice. I'm sorry. I hate to just harp on that all the time, but it's what the Clippers need to do. It's how they can win games more effectively, how they can provide more energy, how they can make life more difficult on the opposition. he was passing the ball around, and Harden obviously passes too, but Kawhi was just stuck there with the ball. Not the whole game. Don't get me wrong. He had 4 assists, so it wasn't terrible. But at the end of the game, when they needed him to move the ball, he's standing there with it down by his ankles. Harden with 8 assists. So he was passing 5 turnovers, which for Harden, I think is acceptable. Amir Coffey had a rough night, 3 of 7, 0 for 1 from beyond the arc, 8 points. And Harden finished with 24, but only 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. He was chucking up some ugly looks there when trying to draw the foul, and they weren't going for it, and he wasn't hitting. It was, off the heel or off the front of the rim. It was just not a good night for him. But Bogdan, I thought, played well too. I like what he brings to the table. 15 points, 4 threes, 5 of 10 from the floor tonight with 5 assists. So he's a nice addition. Ben Simmons, 3 of 3, 20 minutes for 6 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. So I think he's a nice addition, especially based on the fact that it's not a terribly expensive venture for them. I just come back to what does it all mean from the standpoint of putting this team together, getting them to gel. This is where Ty Lue has got to earn his money. What can you turn this into? Here are your ingredients. What can you make of it? Can you get this team to play on the back 9? I was thinking of the golf analogy. Last time I played golf, which was Monday, Washington's birthday, President's Day. I don't know why it's called Washington's birthday, because it's not his actual birthday. It's just the holiday, but they also dub it President's Day. Anyway, I was out playing golf, and lately, the last few times I've played, I play well on the front, very consistent, 1 or 2 bad holes. Maybe like I had a double on 3 on a par 3. I knocked it in the water and made a 5. Other than that, nothing crazy. Bogeys. I shot 43, which I'm about mid 80s. That's where I play on a regular basis. So 43 for me is good. On the back 9, ball's going right. Had a mulligan. I'll admit it. I'm not that straight to the rules. So, taking a mulligan at our level is what we do. It's not a crazy sort of high stakes money game. It's just we're out there for fun. And I just kind of fell apart. I shot 45, still not terrible, but it wasn't anywhere near as consistent as the front 9. That's what the Clippers do in the fourth quarter. They play really good in the second and third quarters and then fall apart in the fourth. That's got to be cleaned up. They got to provide more pressure and not just survive. It's not good enough against good teams. They have to be a threat, not a, hey, we're going to come from behind and get it done. I knew this was going to come to an end, the down by 10 or more, and come back to win. The last 3 wins against Utah twice and Memphis. Down 10. Down 10 to the Utah Jazz. Well, one of them was right before the break, so I'm surprised they won that game. I was blown away. But down 10 against Memphis is a nice win. So they're capable of it. And again, that's what frustrates me. End of the second, right before the half, they went on a 6-0 run to make it a 7-point game, 57-50. Harden, Zoo, and Kawhi all with good first half, 10 apiece. Third quarter, they kept the run going. They built it up to a 10-0 run. Ball moving better. They were doing all the right things. Just keep it going. I don't know. I don't know why they can't. Are they afraid? Are they just out of gas because they're old? It could be. It could be. Maybe they're just tired. We're just tired. We're doing the best we can out here. Give us a break. All right. 116-110, the final. Clippers fall to the Bucks in Milwaukee. Off tomorrow, back at it on Sunday. So off Friday and Saturday. They are on to Indianapolis, Indiana to face the Pacers. That is a 2:00 tip, and I will be here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel to break it down for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comments. Have a good night. Take care, and we will talk on Sunday.